Hi, good afternoon. My name is Jonathan Vasquez. This video is intended for Professor Tony's Human Process and Group Communication course. Today's date is Tuesday the 28th. Very excited about doing this. I'm really nervous, but thankfully I have a few colleagues that were willing to help me. I had a couple extra people who were very adamant about wanting to be trying to help me out, so I allowed them to be in it. I hope that's okay. Everything that you're going to see is obviously fictitious. I've asked my colleagues to use fake names and to understand that I'm not providing any form of therapy and that this is all role play just for the sake of my course. So once again, Jonathan Vasquez, and this is my group processes video. Wish me luck. All right, thanks. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming in today. It's really great to see some new, fresh faces. Before we begin, I'd like for us to go over the group rules really quick, if that's all right with all of you. Would you mind starting here?
Sure. So what happens in groups stays in group.
Okay. Rule number 2, my stress does not define me.
Number 3, respect the group and participants by being present throughout the meeting.
Rule number 4, arrive on time and with an open mind.
Rule number 5, be respectful of each other's person's unique struggle.
Okay, and number 6, feel free to share your thoughts, but no advice giving.
Rule number 7, please keep your phones off during the session.
So I just want to go over a quick layout. Now that we got that out of the way, we kind of know what to expect here during group and during group time. We need to be respectful of everyone's opinions and respectful of everyone's struggle too. That's really huge. And once again, we can't push any more confidentiality, which you guys are all very aware of with HIPAA and whatnot, given the type of work that we do. Nevertheless, I just wanted to do some introductions, if you guys don't mind. Perhaps we'll start with you, and what you can do is go ahead and introduce yourself, and if you can use a scale from 1 to 5, 5 being the absolute most stressed out you've ever been in your life, 1 being 0 stress whatsoever, and let us know how you're doing.
Okay, well, my name's Eileen, and I'm at a 4 right now, mostly because I have a lot of work that needs to get done before the end of the month. And I'm having some things with my children at home that are driving me insane. So, and just being able to manage my time with them and here at work and with my clients, it's brought me to a level 4, which is just a lot of stress on my body and mental. So.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. And can we continue on?
This is Melissa, and I'm at a 2. I have a lot of reports, and it is the end of the month, but I guess maybe I'll be more stressed the last day of the week, but for right now, I'm moderately stressed. I can handle it. It'll be okay.
Great, great. Would you like to continue?
Yes. Hi, my name is Maddie, and I'm at a level 5 right now. There's just so much going on. My clients are just losing it, and they're making me lose it. And at home, I'm just feeling very overwhelmed. We're moving, and so my life is literally just chaos. And so I've just, have this little stress thing to help me kind of keep it together because I feel like I'm gonna lose it.
Maddie, thank you so much for sharing. After we're done with introductions, perhaps we can come back to you.
Okay.
Great. Would you like to continue?
Yes. So this is what the first time I'm in this group is 5, the highest anxiety, and
Yes.
1
And
is
1 would be no anxiety whatsoever.
or stress. Sorry.
Or stress. My apologies.
Okay. So at the end of the month, like her, I do feel very high stress. I've probably rated about a 5. Just because of work, it's overwhelming. Work has us do so many responsibilities that I can't put myself I can't invest all of my time in one client, which is sad, but just the workload is very stressful. So that's my biggest issue right now.
Can definitely see where you're coming from. This job does have a lot of stress involved and attached to it, and I think that's something that everyone seems to be experiencing on a different degree. This is exactly why we have this group here, so that we can all discuss what stresses us out, and we can fellowship in knowing that we're not alone in this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be addressed as well.
So this is my first time, but I forgot to introduce myself, Eileen. So if I'm a little nervous, sorry guys.
Great, pleasure.
We have the same name.
Yeah, we have the same name.
Would you like to continue?
Well, my name is Yusuf. My stress level at this time is like 4 because I have too many things to do. I have no help. I got a lot of things to do at the office, at home. I got car problems. I deal with so many things. I don't get enough sleep of 8 hours. So my stress level is most of the time it's high. I try to do many things in a timely manner, but I am behind. I get slow. I cannot catch up on things. So that's how my stress level is high.
Sounds like you have a lot on your plate, Yusuf.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Would you like to continue?
Sure. Hi, my name is Jesus. And for my stress level, I'm going to go ahead and say it's a 4 as well. Caseload at work is kind of high. Keep getting new cases. Just got fired from a case. So that kind of stressing me out a little bit. But just dealing with everything else that's in between, from seeing the people and doing reports, sending out referrals, following up with everything. That's kind of stressful right now. Everything's like hitting at one time. But aside from that, I have a lot of extra projects to work on outside of work. Currently working on a project where I'm trying to do a little video editing. So if I look a little stressed right now, it's because I have it right here. But please, I will pay attention to you all. I'm a little distracted, but yeah. So that's what I'm working on right now. So extra projects, trying to make extra money, high stress levels.
I completely understand that, Jesus, and we all we all could use an extra hour in the day. We're all pressed for time. One thing though that I will address, if you don't mind, is if we can try to stay focused on this group and perhaps work on this maybe a little bit later. We want everyone to be able to participate fully and to know that everyone's voice is being heard. So if you could maybe perhaps put that away, then we'd really appreciate it.
Sure, no problem.
Great, thank you, sir. Would you like to continue?
Sure. My name is Stephanie. This is my first time here in this group, and I decided to come today because I would say my stress level is probably a 4.5, probably hitting 5. As everybody else mentions, work is very stressful. I have like 4 days left of the week, and I have maybe like 9 reports to do. So it is a lot of work. My caseload is, popping off. That's what I say. Dealing with placement, dealing with, consumers moving into independent living. It's a lot going on, and it's a lot to manage. But on a more personal level at home also, it's a lot of chaos, dealing with like family members. But yeah, I appreciate, being here.
Absolutely, we're so very happy to have you, Stephanie. Just like we're all very happy to have everyone here as well. One of the common things that I'm noticing, which makes complete sense given that this is a stress management group, is that everyone's stress levels are fairly high considering we're towards the end of the month, which is typically when reports are due. So it makes complete sense that everyone can be a bit on edge, and when you have home life issues that are interfering with work, or work that interferes with home, this can be a very difficult juggling act. Having a home life, being a husband or being a wife, being a child or having children. These are all things that add stress into our lives even more. One of the things that I want to discuss though was the purpose of this group. Now that we've all kind of checked in, we all know each other's names. Pretty much the whole purpose is for us to learn various ways to manage our stress to our best ability. Now granted, there's stressors in life that are just going to be inevitable, but that doesn't mean that we can't maybe perhaps choose a healthy way to overcome some of these feelings of stress. And so with that being said, and the purpose of this group, Eileen, would you like to discuss perhaps how you've been able to manage your stress levels?
Usually I hit up the gym and I take yoga classes, which helps out. At least I do yoga about twice a week whenever I get a chance away from those kids of mine, and and that's the time that I get to de-stress. And then I get home, I read a book, or I have a tea at night that helps me sleep, and it kind of gives me a little bit more control over my stress. And at work, I just take time away from my computer. Sometimes just walking around the building kind of helps. Going and go get a tea over at our local coffee shop or something like that. That usually helps. Or just talking to a coworker, just talking about our cases and our report helps, kind of just keep that stress off of me. Helps a lot. So that's usually what I do in order to, not be so stressed.
Absolutely. It sounds like you have quite a few different activities that you engage in throughout your day and week that helps you keep your stress levels at a more manageable level. That's really good. I'm glad to hear it. Good, good. And Melissa?
I like to just keep open communication with my program manager. If I'm looking at, let's say, 20 reports, realistically, I can do them all and they're going to be maybe a little shoddy, or I can just talk to her and say, hey, I'm not going to have time to do it all. Emergency placement came up, stuff that takes priority over report writing came up. This might be a day or two late, it'll get done, but it might be late. And I think she values that open communication. That takes the stress off of me, because now I have an additional day or two to complete the tasks, and I can do them to my standards and do them well, as opposed to just, just doing work that I wouldn't be proud of. So communicating with her is a big one with me, even though it sucks to just have to go up to her and let her know, like, dang, I'm not gonna meet my deadline this month. That's not particularly a good feeling to communicate that with your program manager, but you gotta put the pride aside and just do the best that you can. So communication in terms of the job stress, yeah. And home stress, I take a break from my family. Just like you take a break from your computer, I take a break from the family that drives me crazy, so that I can come back a little replenished to be able to deal with the crazy again, So.
Great. It kind of sounds like you as well have, like, maintaining good communication skills with your superiors helps you be able to take pride in your work and not to turn in or submit shoddy reports, like you'd mentioned, that you're able to actually give it your all. And that really helps with your sense of accomplishment, That's fantastic. And Maddie, I know that you're at about a 5. So what is it, have you been able to do anything that helps lower your stress, or what's typically working?
Well, I have this little stress reliever little thing, and just constantly pressing it helps me stay zen and not feel like I'm just gonna lose it. Just, squeezing it, I feel like I'm in control of something. So it helps me and alleviates my stress. Even though it's really up there, I'm able to still remain calm and not completely lose it. Because if not, I don't even know if I would be able to be here at group with you guys. So I just, please don't mind me. I'm trying to keep it together.
Sure. It sounds like right now there's a lot going on in your life, and you're just hanging on by a thread, it seems like. If the group would allow me, if you would allow me, perhaps we can do a quick little breathing exercise. And I'd like for everyone to participate if you guys are available or interested in doing so. So basically all we're going to try to do is just try to get a little bit relaxed. Sit up straight in your chairs. Put your hands on your knees. And I want you to close your eyes and take a nice deep inhale through the nose and out the mouth. And feel the rise and fall of your chest. Once again, inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. And as you're relaxing yourself, you're letting the tensions and worries of life just let go. Once again, inhale through the nose. Out through the mouth. Let's do it a couple more times. In the nose, out to the mouth. Everything's okay. We are in control of our bodies. One more time. And exhale out of your mouth. Okay, you guys can open your eyes now. Maddie, how do you feel now?
I feel a lot more relaxed.
Great.
That helped a lot, and I'm glad I came here because I just felt like I was gonna lose it at any second.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I notice you're not squeezing the ball as tight anymore, so that's always a good sign, right? Although I'm sure your grip has got to be really strong by now.
Yes.
Good, good. Well, that's just one example of something that we can sometimes do at our desk when we're feeling really overwhelmed, when we don't have an opportunity to go take that walk around, or even when we're in our cars driving, although I would keep your eyes open if you're driving, just as a heads up. Okay, and Eileen, how do
I
you
did like that. If I can just comment really quick, it just helped me to take a few seconds back and regroup. Hopefully I can try that by myself. I don't know if I'd look weird, breathing in and out. But yeah, I did like that. I'm listening to all these ideas, and I'd really like to try the gym. That sounds like a good idea, but one thing that's helped me so far is work is really, it's inevitable. There's always going to be stress, especially at the end of the month. But what I've had to remind myself is that work stops at the sorry to say that, work stops when I get out of this building.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to literally picture in my mind that it's done, and I even try to imagine a light switch just off so I can go home refreshed. I don't want to take any of the work stress home with me. So I have to just say stop and it's off, and vice versa. When I'm coming into work, my home life is in the back.
Great. That is a wonderful, I think you brought up a really good point of compartmentalization, where we leave work stress at work. And when you clock out, you mentally clock out as well. I know a lot of times we can take that stress home and perhaps be thinking about things that we need to be doing for the next day, and we'll be thinking about it at home. Now, we're not being paid for that time, right? And yet our minds are still there. We're still here at work and sense trapped. So if we can compartmentalize and have our home life different and separate from our work life, not necessarily that it's more important or less important, but that it's just different. And that differentiation, I think, that you're making is a fantastic way of looking at things and also managing your stress. Great, thank you. And Yusuf?
Well, with me, I try my best to not to take things home, but even though we clock out, we turn the lights off, we go home, sometimes active cases bother me. They're still on my mind because it goes home with me, not all of it, but sometimes some things do. One more thing helps me is this: I have to get it off my chest. If something bothers at work, cases or something, tough situations, I need to talk to somebody. I can feel better. That helps me. So the only one person at home is my wife. So I talk to her. That helps me. So then I always tell her, "You please don't take it too hard, otherwise it will bother you." So that helps me, But again, at our job, it ends at 5:30, but never stops. Sometimes it bothers. So I'm trying to help myself to relax. I pray, and then I also take bubble baths. That helps me. So that works sometimes, but I try my best. So.
That's great. That's great. Does anyone want to comment on how Yusuf does, how he's able to relax and the methods that he uses? Jesus?
Yeah, just to piggyback on what he was saying, the whole talking to people, I usually find myself talking to my coworkers quite often, especially in stressful situations or if something comes up where I feel like I'm gonna get in trouble with the boss lady. Yeah, like I'll come and talk to my coworkers. And usually they've gone through it too. And so they're able to, not necessarily talk me off the ledge, but like just to put it in terms that we can understand, just talking off the ledge. They're able to tell me how they went about it, how I can go about explaining to the boss what happened, or if it's even with reports, how I can put things in certain wordings, or how I can communicate with our vendors and our programs, or even with the clients themselves.
Mhm.
You know, just to get certain things across to where it makes the job a little bit easier. And you know, just communicating.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I will admit I probably spend too much time talking with my coworkers.
Mhm.
But you know, at the end of the day, I feel like it makes me more open to being a better employee and getting more work done. Just because it helps me relieve that stress during the day. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially when your coworkers are the ones that can relate fully, because you know they're
Yeah.
typically under the same workload.
Yeah.
It's great. How does the group feel about how Jesus handles his stress levels and how he communicates with his colleagues?
It's good what he does, that talk to peers, it helps a lot, yes.
Yeah.
Quickly bring the stress level down.
And they relate, like you said, on a different level. It's awesome, you know, to talk to your wife, but maybe she's not always understanding what you mean by something like placements or facility review or anything like that, whereas your colleagues can fully understand, you know, so there's a level of empathy there that, you know, additional when you debrief with your colleagues. Yeah.
Mhm. Good, good. Now this is great. Now I want you guys to remember that we're all this group here, we're all equals. So feel free to comment on each other's methods and the things that you like, or maybe things that you feel that you can take from them to help you be able to conquer your stress a little bit better. So Stephanie?
Something that I was able to relate with Yusuf was his faith. He said he commented on prayer, and that's something that I do. I'm at my desk and I have like a daily like calendar of prayer type. I guess you could say like a verse, a little something to like up my spirits. And I feel like every time I do that, it pertains to me the day of. Like if I'm, you know, and it's something that I could come in, read in the morning, and it just kind of like makes me feel a little better, a little, you know, just take it one step at a time, one task at a time. So definitely I think prayer for me helps. As well as just, you know, stepping away from your computer, your desk, like she mentioned, Eileen, you know, taking a walk. And of course talking to my colleagues. For sure I could relate to also to Jesus that, you know, I could go to somebody else and tell them, you know, what's going on, and more than likely they already went through it, and it helps me, and I'm like, okay, you know, it's not the end of the world, like I'll survive.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to do A, B, and C, and I will be okay. Yeah. But I think definitely prayer is my number one thing that, you know, and it helps me cope.
That's great. That's great. Faith is really, really strong, and it can be a wonderful thing. A wonderful thing. That's fantastic. Great. So, seeing that, you know, we're all here for a specific reason, because we've been experiencing stress to at least some type of degree. What are some? And this time we don't have to go around in a circle. This was just pretty much to get everyone talking so we all get used to each other's voices. But what are some things that we can do to lower our stress levels even more? Like, so perhaps, you know, I know that we had a couple here that were about 4.5 to 5s, and their stress levels seem to be coming down, I'd hope. But what are some other areas that you guys can think of as a group that can help facilitate calming down and managing stress a little bit better in your lives?
I just listening to everybody here and listening to your guys' techniques and methods of, you know, de-stressing. I would think that, you know, it just reminded me how, like, exercise, like Eileen said, I love going for runs and just putting on some good music and just letting it out in a run, so that way I don't have to vocalize it, and then I start thinking of everything outside. I start looking at the trees, the plants, and it just kind of gets me away from that. And also just remembering that it's not personal, you know, whatever my clients are going through, it's not personal, it's not against me, and I need to learn how to just keep it, you know, professional and not take it to heart. So that's really helping me calm down right now. So I'm just very grateful to be here.
It's a great plan of attack. Anyone else like to share?
I don't think anyone mentioned fun. And I think, like, just because we're stressed out doesn't mean that we aren't allowed to have some fun or plan some fun and an easy dinner with some friends could completely take your mind off of work and just, you know, fill your cup up a little bit so that when you come back to work, you have more energy and more positivity to address the work, you know, so fun is always a good one.
Yeah, I'd like to add to Maggie, right?
Mm-hmm.
What she said, music helps a little bit, you know, we play soft jazz music, that helps. And then also a little sense of humor. I like to joke around with all my peers, co-workers to, you know, have a little good time. That helps a lot to bring the stress level down. I'm like a comedian in my office with my co-workers, so I try to make everybody laugh so we can all have a good time.
You share a smile with someone.
Yes, I try my best to do it.
Great, great.
I like to combine them, like the whole having fun, but not having fun at the same time. I like to unplug from the world, and so every now and then I really enjoy fishing. But even if I don't go and catch any fish, my idea of fishing is sitting on the lake or in open body of water and just dipping my line and sitting there and kind of like unplugging from the world. No phone, no music, no nothing, just listening to nature. But at the same time, I also have fun by playing softball. That's one of the things I really like to do. And for me, in that hour and a half that we're playing, you know, I kind of forget about everything. And nothing else matters besides, you know, hitting the ball or catching the ball at that moment in time. So it's like, it's a good way to take my mind off of it. And then when I come back and check back into reality, it's like, well, I don't feel as bad anymore because I had that time to alleviate my stress, either from just sitting there and doing nothing, or like the physical activity, you know, getting it out and doing what you love, you know. So I like to combine it.
Great. So it sounds like we can all benefit from increasing our physical activities. You know, and that's something that, especially as social workers, we do tend to be a little sedentary, right? And we do tend to sit down quite a bit to our driving to our meetings, sitting down to write reports, going home and sitting down. It's a lot of sitting. You guys bring us some really awesome ideas. Would anyone else like to share what they think they can implement in their life?
Taking time off, I think it's very important.
That's
As social workers, we constantly want to be here for our clients all the time, you know, from 7:30 to 5 o'clock. But I think it's important that we also take time for ourselves and take our vacation time. If we're sick, take our sick time. That way we can recuperate and come back stronger and more just with a clear head, but especially the vacation with your family, with friends, and just going out to the beach and just lying there and just letting the waves crash and just feel just that serene feeling when you go out in that type of setting. I think that helps a lot. It's just taking time off.
I agree, and you're giving that time off for a reason, right?
Correct.
Great. I noticed you began to say something, or you were saying that it was difficult?
Oh yeah, I just find for myself it's very, very hard to take the time off. I don't know what it is, but I don't do it as much as I should.
Is there a specific reason that you can think of, or do you
A workaholic?
Have you taken time off before and then you come back to like a bajillion phone calls and emails and it's like,
Yeah.
dang it, how do I catch up now, you know?
Yeah,
This is
so
what I was
that's
trying
not
to
very
avoid.
encouraging, especially on Mondays. You know, this last 3-day weekend was really great, but come Monday, when I look at the phone, there's either 20, 30, 10 voicemails, and it's like right back to it.
Sounds like there's just no chill, right?
Yeah, right. I just need to keep coming to these classes because they're all reminders for what's working well for you guys, and maybe I can just start trying some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it sounds like there's a variety.
No, there definitely are, actually. IRC does offer a few different ways that we can help relieve stress. Does anyone know some of those ways?
Yoga, meditation.
Yoga, meditation, yep. It's about every Monday, I think, at around lunchtime. Yeah. So that's one possible way that you can maybe even de-stress while still being here.
They have I don't know if it's called The Biggest Loser or the step competition, or I don't know what month, or if it's a 3-month thing where you just, whoever walks the most steps a day has like some gift card at the end, you know?
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So there's some more incentive to, you know, maybe take a couple laps around, and the weather's starting to be pretty nice before it gets too hot,
Yeah.
right? And maybe doing a couple laps around the agency might be a nice thing. Change the scenery around a little bit. Can anyone think of anything else that IRC may offer?
They give us a coffee shop where we can go play chess. They have like little games. They have a nice couch that you can sit on. Just to relax and just have a cup of coffee or an herbal tea.
Great, yeah, like a little rec room, right? And that's a great way to decompress. If you have the time to be able to take one or two of your colleagues over there that's also maybe struggling with stress, is to go and play a couple rounds of chess or checkers, relax, and really come back feeling a little bit more refreshed. Granted, it's not as good as taking a vacation, but it's something that you can do a little bit more frequently. Like Eileen pointed out, there are times when even just coming back from the weekend, you might have, dozens and dozens of missed calls because things happen. That's just the nature of our work. Nevertheless, if we can't take care of ourselves, how are we then expected to take care of our consumers, right? And now we obviously all didn't get into this field for the money. We got into this field because of the heart that we have to help those that are struggling with just getting by in life. Right? And I think social workers really are some of the most tenderest people that I've ever met. But this job is high stress. It is very demanding. But remember the impact that we're doing. It's someone's life that you have such an influence on. That's a major responsibility. That's why not anyone can do it.
I think that's why we're so stressed, because we actually care about that life.
Yes.
You know?
Exactly.
Oh, also I'd like to mention during my lunchtime, this helps me to get little refreshed. I pick up my lunch, I go sit in my car, say a little prayer, eat my lunch, and then I take a nap. Then when I come back, I feel little fresh, so that helps me too. So that when I come back, guys, I'm not tired after half day, so that helps me taking naps. I always take naps in my car, so that helps me.
That's a wonderful idea. Being able to take a nap, just a 15-20 minute little power nap sometimes can do wonders for us, especially if we're not having the best of days or we're feeling very stressed out that day.
Or not sleeping enough
Yeah.
the night before.
Yes.
Do you really leave the AC on and just put your little jazz music on and take a nap?
No AC.
Okay.
Just leave the windows little
Oh, the
open.
window. Okay.
Then I find a tree and
Oh.
it has like 90% shade. I know a couple of my spots, so I go there. So that really helps me. I have to. If not, it started. I experienced coming back from my visits. It was like 4:30. I was falling asleep. So then I said to myself, no, I cannot go on like this one. I had to stop at one spot and then find a shady place to take a nap. Otherwise, I could not have continued.
Yeah.
So that was somewhere close to IRC. Then I said, no, let me not do this one. On the way, I want to go home first. So I started taking naps during my lunchtime. So that did help me. Then I don't have to stop in the middle.
Yeah.
So I would reach home on time. So during lunchtime, I had to take nap at least 20-25 minutes. So
That's
that
good.
I'm doing even in 120 degrees temperature. I'm
Wow.
used to it now.
Yeah.
We are, creature of habit. So even with that temperature, but I have found a couple of spots in the desert too, where there are shade trees. So I park under there. Do it. So
I've taken a
it
few
helps.
naps on the field. It does help.
I
But
told,
those
yeah.
are desperate days when I'm taking a nap on
Yeah.
the field.
I announced
I'm
it.
not safe to drive if I don't nap.
I announced it in the beginning. I announced in the unit meeting also, so that everybody would know that is my lunchtime. That is what I do. So it's okay. My supervisor knows that. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that helps.
I have something I want to share while everybody, is discussing. A few scenarios popped in my head. More so when, you said the waves hitting you, in the beach. Since we just did have the 3-day weekend, I actually went to San Diego. And when she said that, I have something that came to my mind. We rented bikes. So we were taking down we're by the beach and we're riding our bikes, right? And then there was this road and there was more cars then bike lane, like the bike lane was small, but we were going down, and I was the first one, and then I came to where it was just more highway and then the beach, and I could just see the beach, the breeze, and I was just like, woo! Like I was just feeling myself, and I just felt for a minute, I felt like, you know, so de-stressed, and my hair was blowing back. My husband was in the back, you know, like, slow down. But it was so much fun, and I remember that, and it came to mind when she said about the waves. But that was a good time. So now I might just take up, riding the bike. Yeah. It was so much fun. And then another thing that I did want to mention was like a to-do list. Like that sometimes when I'm just feeling overwhelmed, I feel that that's something definitely that helps me. I just, do a list with like my priorities on the top, and I just, as I'm doing them, I cross them out. And then soon enough, the list is done. So, but yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Doesn't it feel great when you cross that off your list?
Yes.
And it's one of those things that especially if you've been meaning to do it for a while, there's just you just feel so good being able to cross something like that off your list. That's wonderful. It's very practical too. It's something that a lot of us can do. That's great. So I know that we're nearing the end of our group time, and I know we're gonna all be getting back to work and getting back to those phone calls and reports and everything that we have. But I just want to do another quick check-in, see how everyone's doing now, because I know that some of us came in with a little bit higher levels of stress than before, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone's been addressed and everyone's feeling at least walking out of here a little bit better. Would you like to start, Eileen?
Okay, so I've dropped to at least a 3. I'm not there completely, but it's a start.
Great.
So I'm at a 3, and I'm going to keep working and maybe using some people's techniques and just learning how to let go when you leave the office, just letting go for the day, because the work will still be there tomorrow. The calls will always be there tomorrow. The messages, emails will always be there. So that's never going to change. Just a matter of how I manage it for myself and letting go for the day.
Good. I think that's a really good thing to strive for. That's awesome. Melissa?
I started at a 2, I'm still at a 2, but I'm feeling better too. Maybe 2, borderline 3. Now I'm a solid 2. Maybe we're down to a 1. But I just think it's great to have this type of support group. Thank you for putting it together. Because like we say, we talk amongst each other all the time, but not in depth. We just like, stress, we're all used to it. So it's kind of nice to delve in a little further, and so thank you.
Good. Well, thank you so much for coming, Melissa. Maggie?
I came here at a 5, and right now I'm feeling at a 3. I've definitely come down a lot. The breathing technique really helped just calm me down, and hearing all of you guys and your de-stressors and what, just having a good time laughing in here, and so that really has helped. So I look forward to coming back to our meetings here.
Great. Wonderful. Eileen?
I started at a 5, and I'd say I'm at a 4 now, because it helps to know that I'm not alone and I'm not the only one feeling stress. It's just easier when it's said out loud that, okay, I'm stressed because of my caseload, I'm stressed because of the clients, I'm stressed because things going on at home. We don't always just say that, I'm so stressed out, but it helps. So knowing that other people feel what I feel.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's something that kind of comes with the territory, and I'm glad that you were able at least to come down to a 4, and if you'd like, once you return back to your office, perhaps you can try some more breathing exercises, perhaps even stretching. That's something that, now I'm not a doctor, so just take note. I'm not giving you any medical advice, but one of the things that I notice is sometimes when I stretch, it really helps improve my blood flow, and it helps me feel a little bit better. Like I'm able to kind of take a little deep breath, and that always at least works for me.
Yeah, I tried that.
Great. Yusuf?
Well, I started at 4. I think now I'm at 2.5. What helped me the most attending this group is listening to everybody. I felt like, hey, you're not the only one person going through this. Everybody has stress. So that kind of made me feel better. Okay, everybody goes through this, and then I also learned from my friends here, the techniques they use, so that I can apply those techniques also to help myself, and then also, learn to better manage my time and sleep well during night, so increase the hours. So that really helped me, being here, listening to everybody, that hey, you're not alone. Everybody goes through this. That made me feel better that hey, I can handle this. Everybody's also handling it. I really like to come back to this group again to, help myself.
Great, and we're so happy that you came, Yusuf.
Thank you.
Great. Jesus?
I'm gonna go ahead and say that I'm at a 3 now. I started at a 4, I think I'm at a 3. The breathing exercise really did help. It felt like it took like a little bit of stress off my shoulders, so that was really nice. But like everybody's been saying, just understanding that we're all stressed, and that it's not just one person who is feeling it, or it's not just myself who's feeling it. We're all feeling it, and knowing that we're all feeling it, we're all figuring out ways or discussing ways to kind of cope with the stress is really nice. And it also helps me rethink of what I do to cope with stress and what's been more effective for me as well, so I can start doing those things again as well.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's really important that we do think to ourselves, what is it that I can do now? And being aware of our bodies, when that stress starts to creep up, it's usually not just an instantaneous, just an absurd amount of stress. It's usually incremental. And if we can catch it early enough, we can maybe do something about it and kind of nip it in the bud, so to speak. All right, so that's a great way to point it out, Mrs. And Stephanie.
Well, overall, I think I came in at almost 5, and I could say I'm at a 3 maybe. I think something to keep in mind is that work is, like Eileen mentioned, it's always going to be there. It isn't going to go away. There's always going to be something to do. So I think it's just, looking at things on the brighter side and just, doing them as you go, and keeping in mind that, we need to remove ourselves and de-stress, and all these techniques are really good. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Great. Really glad that you could join us. So I just wanted to just touch upon next week. We're going to be meeting here at the same time. It's going to be during lunchtime, so if you guys can make time in order to come visit and maybe discuss the different things that you tried this week that you've got from group, and how you've implemented that, and whether you've been successful or unsuccessful. And that's okay. Life is about trying out different methods to handling the problems that we have, So we're going to be here again, and I really appreciate you all being here. And if there's anything we can do, remember, let's just keep this though in group, and everything that we've discussed is confidential. So I can't stress that enough. But yeah. Anyone have any final thoughts?
No, good. Thank you for having us here.
Thank you.
Good job, everyone. So just wanted to do a quick little debriefing of how I think everything went. First and foremost, I'd like to really thank my colleagues for playing along and being such good sports about it. Like I said in the beginning, everyone used a fictitious name. We made sure not to bring up any consumers' names either due to HIPAA, and I just wanted to say thank you to them, even though they'll probably never get to see this. But nevertheless, I was really grateful. Running the group, wow, it was a really interesting experience. Having all the eyes on me the entire time. It's not something that I was really very comfortable with. And as Dr. Yalom had mentioned in his book, I tried being very mindful of how I sat. Several times I had to stop myself from wanting to cross my legs when sitting, but I didn't want to give off a standoffish approach or feeling to what I was being told. Other than that, I think everything went pretty well. I'm pretty satisfied with how things went. Obviously, I need a lot of more practice. This is definitely something that needs to be fine-tuned, and this was my first go at ever doing a group or running a group. So it was, although exciting, very nerve-wracking as well. Well, anyways, I hope that you enjoyed the footage. I'm going to try to edit everything so that it flows a little bit better, which unfortunately means I will be losing some minutes off of the 45-minute requirement. I hope the transitions didn't bother you too much. At any rate, just wanted to say thank you again, and that's about it. Thanks.